Yes, I know, ROG Ally X, blah, 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 don't actually have one in hand, nor do many other people. Hear me out though, you should probably wait and pass on the ROG Ally X if you were interested in it, and especially if you already had the ROG Ally first version. Now, some considerations would be accessories such as this TomToc case, where we can see that with the ROG Ally it's a very snug fit, and then even with cases applied it will fit, but it's still very snug. ASUS has come out and said that accessories will not be broadly compatible, so it was a pretty big move for Steam Deck and Steam Deck OLED to be compatible with one another's accessories. And on more serious points though, well, and you know, not to knock the accessory point, but that's another cost you'd have to factor in of needing to buy in new accessories. Now, more seriously, on an architecture CPU side, there is the leaked 890 and 880M and the next generation RDNA 3.5 GPUs. Now, real quickly, before I get into this, feel free to skip ahead. I'll leave it watermarked and timestamped and everything like that. Now, my name's Andrew, otherwise known as WinDeckTech on YouTube, and I'm going to be speaking about a personal mission I believe in. My wife and I volunteer and foster for a rescue organization called Lost Boys Hope. Now, these people go into remote communities within Manitoba, which is located in Canada, and then bring them out to Ontario, which is also located in Canada. For those of you that don't know, a little bit of geography there for you. Anyway, so they go into these remote communities where dogs are left out in the cold, beaten, abused, they're starving, abandoned, ditched, thrown in dumpsters, things like that. They're shot. It's truly terrible. My second dog that my wife and I have, we adopted them through this organization, and her litter mates, when they were about 8 weeks old or so, 7 to 8 weeks old, I believe it was, if not even younger, they were found in a dumpster. Luckily, someone came across them, and thankfully we now have our happy little Beano. Now, with that being said, they do have unexpected vet costs coming up, and obviously that cost just ongoing. They're 100% donation based, they're not government funded or anything like that. With that being said, I'm going to be starting an eBay auction just on some items that have accumulated over the time of just being on YouTube, and I'm going to be donating 50% of the winnings or earnings off the auction, and then donating that directly to Lost Boys Hope, as well as the other 50% will be reserved for shipping costs, eBay fees, things like that, and then anything left over will be redonated to Lost Boys Hope. If that 50% balloons over for shipping costs, I'll just eat the shipping costs. So guaranteed 50% will be going to the rescue, if not more, hopefully more. With that being said, there is a direct donation link. If you're not interested in the eBay option, I'll leave that in the description and on screen here, as well as the website that I've been showing on screen here as well. You can see some of the dogs for adoption. So if you're in the area or know anybody in the area, please do feel free to check them out and consider adopting a dog through the organization. Now, into the video proper and the main reason. Why would you wait? Now, the Ally X is not a generative improvement over the ROG Ally original. It is more akin to the old iPhone S, original iPhone, kind of TikTok upgrade cycle. There is improvements, yes, you get 24 gigabytes of RAM, you get doubling the battery, which is huge for some, but for a lot of people, they will play their ROG Ally mostly plugged in, or near an outlet regardless. However, the 24 gigabytes of RAM, it's not the silver bullet that people think it will be. Yes, you'll have the benefit of just being able to set it and forget it to 8 gigabytes of VRAM with having plenty of system RAM left over. However, in the LTT preview video where they talked about performance and said predicted, because they weren't allowed to show charts, they said that it would be about 5 to 10% performance uplift over the original ROG Ally, and that's due to the faster RAM speeds. And this is mimicked in my video that I recently uploaded versus the Lenovo Legion Go and the ROG Ally, tested at 16, 1200, and 800p. Performance was typically on average 5 to 10% higher on the Lenovo Legion Go versus the ROG Ally. There were some games where Lenovo Legion Go was beaten by the ROG Ally even at higher resolutions, but for the most part Lenovo Legion Go was faster across the board, and that will be mimicked again with the ROG Ally X. Again, you'll have the benefit of setting it to 8 gigabytes of VRAM, so for certain games like Gears of War, that's a very VRAM heavy game, it will benefit from being able to have access to that 8 gigabytes of VRAM permanently. Other games though, you might not see much of a difference. Now, more importantly, around the corner, we also have RDNA 3.5 coming in the next generation of Ryzen chips. Now, this information was pulled from videocards.com and WCCF Tech, but if I recall, videocards.com was the first to have it. So they had an ASUS Pro laptop leak with the Ryzen A1 9HX 170 chip. We don't know the TDP level, but by default, as per AMD, it's at 28 watts with a range of being 15 to 54. Now, the max clock on the chip was not reached per the software OpenCL Geekbench benchmark. It only hit 4.25 gigahertz. The OpenCL results of the GPU were observed by videocards.com due to them being less prone to increase beyond 28 watts. OpenCL is not a dedicated gaming benchmark, however, the results show a score of 41,995, which is 94% performance of a 1650 Ti, which is a non-existent desktop card. I don't know what they have that listed for. Regardless, maybe they meant a 1650 or 1660 Ti, I'm not 100% sure. Regardless, that is 2% behind, followed with the RX 480 desktop, but the 780M, the 880 or 890M, sorry, is actually 39% faster than the 780M, and it is 59% faster than the 680M or RDNA 2 and RDNA 3 respectively. Now they have the same 2.9 clock as the 780M, and that's kind of just par for the course. It's not a huge gain in GPU architecture technology, but it is still a kind of half tick upgrade. Now with the 890M versus the 780M, we also have 16 CUs or compute units versus the 12 found on the 780M, and we also have 1024 stream processors versus the 768 found on the RDNA 3 based one. Versus teraflops, you have 5.9 teraflops and 4.3 teraflops respectively for the 890 and 780M. And again, the best SKU for the 890M is the A19HX370. So this chip isn't even the top of the line for the chip architecture, but the iGPU performance should be relatively the same. Now, videocards.com obviously recognizes OpenCL is not a gaming benchmark, but it still shows off a sizable difference in performance comparisons. And with that as well, the 890M versus the 880M, the 880M is actually more comparable to the 780M, I would say, with 12 CUs versus the 16 CUs on the 890M. So even between the 890 and 880M, I think there will be an interesting performance difference between those, and that the 880M might be more in line with the 780M, with the 890M having the big sizable increase. Now, for battery gains, you know, you're going to get architectural increases, but you're not going to be getting double the life what you'll be getting in the ROG Ally X unless manufacturers have battery sizes that big, obviously. You can't beat that yet, however, battery banks do exist. Now, next gen, it won't be suddenly 50% increase in efficiency. However, like I said, there will be some improvements, I'm sure. Battery technology and design considerations could also change, potentially allowing for same or more capacity at the same weight and size. And that could be interesting as well, even a year from now. So even if we wait a year from now for the ROG Ally 2, if that's a thing, with these new 890, 880M chips, hopefully not in a Z2 chip, hopefully they use just the straight up 890M GPUs or the actual silicon from AMD, so there's no driver waiting or anything like that. That would be awesome. Not to say that the ROG Ally X isn't a good buy, but you know, it doesn't have Hall effect sticks from the factory. You'd have to wait from other manufacturers such as Zotac or the XPG or something like that that would have something. And in general, those devices are rumored to have will have the 8840U chips in them, which will be a slight increase as well. Not as sizable as RDNA 3.5, but if you're interested in getting a device soon, maybe those ones would be worthwhile to look at as well. Now, it's still a good buy with the ROG Ally X if you don't already have a handheld, and if you're willing to sell your existing ROG Ally on Facebook or something like that to recoup costs, you know, that would be worth it as well. And as well, if you need that absolute maximum unplug time with that 80 watt-hour battery. Now, if you're happy with the Ally 1, I'd say just honestly hold on to it. The performance difference will not be that vast, and honestly, in my opinion, even after reselling, the cost difference might not be that worth it. Unless you can get a pretty good deal on it, or if you're going to like donate or give your ROG Ally 1 to a friend or family member and then get the ROG Ally X, that's an option as well. And finally, as mentioned before, say what you will about the accessory compatibility and everything, it did take Dbrand quite a while to bring the kill switch out for the ROG Ally 1st gen, so who's to say it's going to take them even longer or just as much time to get it out for the ROG Ally X, and then that additional cost, because those cases are not cheap. Manufacturers like JSAUX, TomToc, whatever, they'll have their designs out a lot quicker, I'm sure, but still, you'll need to buy additional accessories and then either resell your old Ally accessories or just throw them out and kind of waste them or not use them at all. With that being said, it might not be as big of a deal to some. Some people just use the device on its own with no accessories, and that's all great too. So if you don't have that to consider, then you know what, that's not a factor that you'll have to consider if you're looking to buy the ROG Ally X. So in conclusion, just wrapping everything up, with the 890M and potentially the 880M, there wasn't really performance leaks for the 880M. It could get very interesting for performance comparisons between an ROG Ally, ROG Ally X versus the RDNA 3.5 based GPUs in the new APU lineups coming. Now you can look to other manufacturers such as Zotac with the AMOLED screen or the XPG with user replaceable RAM modules. Now, we're not and will not be short on tier 1 handhelds from large manufacturers, so that's companies like ASUS and Steam Deck, things like that, where you can buy a device and get a pretty well universal worldwide warranty, as opposed to the hassle that's involved with some of these Chinese manufacturers, GPD, INEO, places like that. Now, consider buying used as well if you don't have one right now, if you just want to kind of get one to get into the scene, to check it out. Again, you don't need to buy used off Facebook. I've seen some really good deals on the Best Buy open box marketplace, whatever they are, Geek Squad certified and things like that. Now, if you're comfortable with going to Facebook, you can probably get a lot better of a deal, maybe with some accessories, maybe with some SD cards or SSD upgrades, things like that. Now, in conclusion, obviously, if you want and need or just want to have the ROG Ally X, I can't talk you out of it, and I'm not trying to talk anybody out of it. I'm just saying that if you already have something and you're happy with it, consider waiting for that next actual generational increase in performance. Don't buy every little half-tick upgrade because it's the new hotness. Wait it out, enjoy what you have, and if you're able and interested, please do check out Lost Boys Hope. Again, links found in the description for the eBay auction that I'm hosting, as well as to their personal site and donation links. If you are comfortable, you can donate through PayPal via one-time donation through this link. If you're able to afford it, if you're able to float it, I'm not asking anyone to put themselves out. Please do not. That's not what this is for. If you're able to, please consider. It would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching.